Hi, this is Carol Livingston of Dynamics Connections. And on this ISV Talks, we have part two with Jeremy Boogaart, who's the Senior VP at Cavallo. And Jeremy and I discussed the Analytics Cloud product and the features that they are launching with this new version of business intelligence for distributors. Next up is Jeremy. Talk to me a little bit about the Analytics Cloud. So I know that's your new business intelligence engine, which I'm really excited about. I think that's really going to be a huge advantage for distributors. So talk to us about why do we need another analytics platform?
Yes, exactly. So Analytics Cloud is our I'll say distribution data science platform. And so it is an analytics platform. It is another reporting solution. So I know that there's lots of those out there doing, a bevy of specific things. And, why build another one? And so I think it's important to draw a distinction about there are different kinds of reporting and packages that are, there are the sort of toolbox versions where it's, hey, what you're getting is really a tool set. So if you're using Power BI, Tableau, Domo, Snowflake, what those are doing is they're helping you move data from one place to another, reshape it, have it available for, being able to do descriptive reporting so you can just see what kind of exists. And then, but you're on your own to do pretty much all of that. So they'll advertise, there's a connector out of the box to move data, but what that doesn't tell you is, okay, that means you have to really understand the schema. So how do you move data from one place to another? You've got to have somebody, supporting you to do that. And then that's just to read it the way that it exists in place. If you want to get any predictive models in place, you're, okay, now you need a data scientist, at least for some period of time, to understand your problems and, then model that out. Then you've got to build visualizations on top of it. And what ends up happening, and I've talked to a number of customers that have done this, it's like, okay, I signed up for 50 to 100 grand of X, Y, and Z package, and I hired somebody. And at the end of the year, when we looked at all the reports and they didn't do anything for us, we scrapped the entire project. I've heard that so many times. And so there's definitely a time and a place for that. And that's not saying people can't be successful in that, but what we're doing is very targeted for distribution. And we're starting off in the land of process. So workflow and process management is one of the things that we are, it's really at the center of what we do almost everywhere. In order processing and customer management, the ability to easily define what your process looks like and then apply business logic to it in a drag and drop way, as opposed to, having to code it in there. And so we're doing process analysis to start. So things like, what steps in your process are slow, which ones are getting slower, where are things waiting the longest? So you can take a detailed look at your process and say, I'm getting worse here, I'm getting better here, and then track overall, how fast am I, cycling through with orders? Is that getting better over time? Is that getting worse over time? And then being able to see things like, okay, here are why things could be going bad. We're 25% less efficient today in the warehouse than normal. And it's because, you don't have this, you have one less staff than normal. So all those things, and then that allows us to be a little bit more prescriptive on the front end. So a CSR puts in an order, you have the overall view that lets you manage your process, but at a tactical level, then a CSR puts in an order and can get an alert that says, hey, by the way, this might not ship out today because we're, backed up and it's not, it might not go out, or it might not go out because items like that you have on this order, refrigerators, as for example, as opposed to, nuts and bolts, take longer to pick and it's going to take a while to get through the warehouse. So all that to do some customer expectation setting where, you can say, oh, if I sold you this, I could get it out today. Or if I sell you this, it's going to be out. So just being able to set those expectations and, it's one of those underrated areas of keeping your NPS high through, proper expectation setting and just understanding how things are going to happen.
So how did you choose to focus on the process? Was that one of the things that came out of those interviews with some of the clients?
It is some of that, yeah. So our workflow and our mission control screen that shows you exactly where everything is at any given point. That's one of the key parts of the product and the part of SalesPad and Distribution Cloud. And so it made sense for us to work on that. But also, the things that we're getting to. So after process, we're going to move on to sales, and and then we're moving to inventory, and then a little bit farther than that. From a data footprint standpoint, it made a lot of sense. And so, like, one of the things that I was just saying about, it's hard to actually go through and do this. I can attest to that. I have 4 data scientists, numerous developers, all of these people working on trying to get this stuff done. And it's not because, it's just because that's how much it takes. That's how hard it is to get to some of the insights that we're getting to, because you have to plan, okay, it's not only how do we make the data that we have work? It's, what data are we missing to get to this outcome? So you have to think about the outcomes and then work your way backwards to, okay, the ERP isn't actually producing these events. We need to supplement it to produce them so that we can get to the set outcome. And so process is something that we've already done a lot of work on with workflow. So we have all the data, and it just makes sense to start there. And then it naturally, the next set of data that we're going to grab will work its way into sales. And so we'll be working our way into
from an operations standpoint. When you've got people trying to put out fires every day, you really don't have time to analyze how can we improve the process, how can we get a little better at this, how can we exceed customer expectations if you're putting out fires all the time. So I like the idea that, hey, we're going to be proactive and managed by exception, right? We're going to have the system tell us when there's going to be a problem. So if something bad is going to happen, we can address that. I like that thought process that was put into designing this.
And the application itself is not just a BI reporting application. So I didn't want it to be just well, here's the data that you can see and have access to. Like in our in the process analytics, you can do things like set alerts. So you can kind of draw in your guardrails and say, okay, if this order has been in procurement for an hour more than average, or a day, or whatever makes sense for your specific use case, then send an email to the appropriate person. And if it's been 2 times longer than normal, email their manager, right? So you can start to set some boundaries as well. So what you don't want to do is, we don't want to be too prescriptive with that, because what you don't want is a miserable system that just emails you constantly about how bad you are. So you can go in and set your alerts and just kind of tailor it in. So you can start out here and then kind of guide it in, but it provides the ability to go do that. It's not just okay, let's go look at some pretty reports. It's, okay, here are the reports. And then from that screen, let me set some alerts that make sense for my business, and then drive that into my everyday behaviors. And that's sort of the intention throughout. So when we move our way into sales, we'll have a sales reporting module, but it will be prescriptive enough that we'll say, okay, first of all, the most important thing for a sales rep is who should I be talking to? And, okay, we can look at that based on, okay, who's ordered from you recently? What's your normal order frequency for this customer? Are we outside of that normal? Have they been trending down in dollars? Have they been trending down in frequency? And so we can produce a list that says, here are the customers you might want to go talk to. And then on a customer by customer basis, here's what you should talk to them about. They're buying only 2 out of your 5 product lines. Customers who look like this, according to, the rest of your database, right? And the rest of the data that we put together, normally buy all of these other things. These would be good areas to go, talk to them about. So almost that more leading rather than just like passive, you can go explore and find answers. Really trying to go persona by persona and saying, this is the information that these people need to do their jobs, and trying to be really more proactive and useful. Because, the worst thing is, putting together and putting all these reports and saying, okay, now go figure it out yourself. That just doesn't drive a lot of adoption. Right.
So can you discuss, I guess, maybe some of the areas that people are looking for in the future? What are you hearing from customers and partners in terms of where the product and what they need to have in their systems, their ERP or their warehouse management systems?
Yeah, I think what I've been seeing a lot more of recently is just, it's a lot easier to connect different systems. So a lot more people are juggling a lot more vendors, whether it's Magento or Amazon, not really a vendor, I guess, but it's a major sales channel for almost everybody. So it's almost, as important as your website. How are you going to go connect to all of these places, man? But you still have your bread and butter, like over the phone orders as well, and complexity that exists there. And so a lot of the challenges people are dealing with right now are, if you have any complexity there in your supply chain, it's really tough to manage right now. You've got orders that take forever. Your POs take forever to receive. So if you're doing goods from Southeast Asia and you want a container ship, you might as well just, add a month, and who knows how many decimal places to the shipping cost. It's like double on almost everything right now. Once it gets there, it's stuck in the port for a while. That stuff is, while they're working 24/7 now, it still takes a while. And then it's hard to get trucks, if you're doing LTL or FTL out of there, it's tough to do that. And so it's really tough to get product. And then on top of that, you've got to make hard decisions about, okay, maybe this customer has ordered 10 items on this order, and I can get 8 of them. Do I wait until I can get the extra 2? Do I ship it out? And so there's just a lot of ERPs work really well when everything is great. Like, hey, if the order comes in and it goes right to my warehouse and we pick it and send it out and everything's great. Yeah, everyone handles that pretty well. But when you get into this scenario where you don't have everything that you need, and customers are upset and have timelines and expect things from you, and you've got to make hard decisions about, do I give to this customer or do I give to that customer? That's when the availability of information and tool sets really important. You have to be able to decide, do I release this back order? Do I partial ship this? Can I afford to eat freight on 2 orders, or am I passing that on now with a higher price? The margins are so thin that there's really not that much to give away. So these decisions on an order by order basis really determine, whether or not you're profitable on an order by order basis. And so if you're just leaving that up to, your salespeople and your ops people to make those decisions, it can be really hard. And be hard for them to know if they're making the right decisions. And so the first thing is, just the availability of that information and being able to make those good decisions. But also, part of the reason that we're leaning heavily on workflow at the beginning of this is, being able to design rules and approvals on the fly to handle these scenarios, like as stuff comes up. I think I referenced this in the Premier Week, but, we had a customer with raw material prices going really highly. And, within the matter of, 30 minutes, able to go set a rule that says if quotes are this old and over this dollar amount, then they need reapproval before they can go out. And so just being able to quickly and dynamically react to, market conditions can be the difference between, profitability and loss. And, it's a challenging time. And especially when you start layering in things like, a lot of organizations are, heavy on turnover, right? Turnover, I think, is at 25% this year or so, wow. Bureau of Labor and Statistics overall. And so, that's a huge thing. And when you think about, a lot of that is skewed towards hourly work too. So you're training warehouse people, you're training CSRs, front desk, other people to interact with the system who don't, they don't have a lot of experience in it or time. And so it's important to have tools that are easy to use. The data is widely available, but also that individual kind of control layer of being able to add rules that say, if this is the scenario, like if the dollars are this, or if the item class is this and the margin is this, then, it doesn't go out, or it has to get approved. And being able to put those guardrails in is really helpful from a training aspect too. You're not going to have oopses go out the door, and oopses can be really expensive.
That at a negative margin. Sorry about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I guess any observations about, how Cavallo is adding value to those clients that are trying to figure out the journey to the cloud, right? Maybe they're on-prem system today, and they're looking at, all this great functionality. How do they get from where they are today to getting into that cloud-based application? Yeah,
so for our customers, or the types of people that we work with, in distribution, it's a lot. There's a reason that distribution companies are generally laggards when it comes to ERP migrations, right? You look, and it's basically manufacturing is first, and then it's distribution. It's because the operational complexity of those businesses is just, it's very high, right? And you look at people who can migrate quickly. It's usually those financial companies, GL only, GLARAP, like just do basic. Those are a lot easier to move than somebody who has to make sure that every order that comes in, ships out the same day and have all the visibility there. So it can take a long time, to do an ERP implementation. I think one of the things that we help with there is, we're very used to distributors, and we're very used to those types of customers, those implementation. Our tools instead of having to support everything, support distributors. And so the setups are easier. They're more straightforward, solving problems already that are specific to you. And so that's definitely one component is, we can help those organizations get there just by the re-implementation. And so when you think about the transition from, like our customers, BC to Business Central, or, other on-prem to business, I mean, you're looking at a full re-implementation, regardless of whatever migration tools exist, or as much as the publisher would like you to believe that they're, plug and play 1 week long, it can take a while, particularly when you have to get to all that complexity that a distributor has. And so that's definitely one area, is just, having a head start, in those areas.
Right.
We have, for our existing customers, on the SalesPad side, we have a tool that will do transaction shipping from GP and SalesPad to Business Central. So if you want to dual run for a while, you can actually, for those customers of ours, we're supporting that. So you can actually dual run transactions. So it will ship your customers items, sales orders, or actually invoices is what it pushes over, and it pull back receipts. So that's just one of those areas that allows you to de-risk for a little bit. You can move your finances, but leave your operations. And then when you're ready to cut the ops team over, you can do that. And everyone will have some familiarity. Your transactions will be there, that sort of thing. So we're definitely supporting, our GP and SalesPad customers that way.
Yeah, I do think that as people are thinking about that journey to the cloud or migration, or it's not really an upgrade, it really is a full implementation. So that's kind of a big thing, you don't want to have your business shut down, while you're trying to implement new software. So it's great that you have that option to kind of help with that planning process. And do you have anybody going live right now? I think I saw something about that on your product premiere, that you actually have some beta clients now.
Yeah, we have 3 beta clients. One of them is live, like fully live with BC and with Distribution Cloud. And then we have 2 more that are in process. So they're in implementation with Business Central, with go lives in January and February. So, yep, we're the train is rolling there a little bit. It's been a bit of a challenge, to be honest, because trying to find enough customers who would be potentially willing, who are complex distributors in BC already, in BC on the cloud, have been a little bit challenging to root out from our network. At least I'm sure they exist. So we're happy with the ones that we have, and we've got a bunch more kind of in pipeline as well to be going live here hopefully soon.
Do you want to talk about that? I mentioned the product premiere. It actually was a fantastic thing you guys did. So you did kind of an hour session to kind of really talk about Distribution Cloud, Analytics Cloud, and SalesPad. Do you want to talk about that and let our viewers know how they can watch the recordings?
Yeah, absolutely. So we did our product premiere week at the beginning of October, and it was mostly to launch our 2 new platforms, so Analytics Cloud and Distribution Cloud. So we spent an hour kind of digging through the why of why we built those products, and the problems that they solve. And then we also did a full day on SalesPad roadmap as well. So all those are available out on our YouTube page. Welcome to go view those for more info. I think they're pretty detailed, at least from if you really want to sit down and watch our team for 2.5, 3 hours, it's all there.
Not just a dry demo. I mean, you do have different aspects, like you have the interview with some of your clients. I really valued that, because you got some real people, real world experience of their experiences. So that was really great. And I love seeing the product too, and kind of getting an idea of what it's like. Is there anything else you want to share? No,
I think that's most of it. We're, like I said, we're launching the products formally here at the end of November. We have a really aggressive roadmap. So our end goal is to be at least with value parity with SalesPad. So our SalesPad customers will be able to easily move if they ever want to, kind of make that migration. That'll be available. But we also have an aggressive roadmap with Analytics Cloud, and that's kind of tearing, it's new ground for us, but really exciting. I mean, honestly, it's one of those things, having been working on this platform and on these problems for like the last 15 years, finally having the tool set and the ability to answer some of these questions that, previously was just, okay, I've got this Excel sheet with 100 different forms trying to figure out, where I should stock this product. Should it be in this warehouse or this warehouse, and how much should I have, and who should I be selling to what? Finally being able to go, execute on that. The organization now is big enough. I've got the team with the data science team to be able to extract this stuff. So it's really a fun new area for us that just adds a ton of value beyond just the transactional processing stuff that's really been our tradition.
Yeah, I think that I'm really excited about the analytics and the business intelligence piece. I think that is going to be really amazing. And the future of your roadmap is going to be just uncover even more and more value as people get to use all those tools. And I agree with you. And I worked with several different reporting products, and you're kind of starting from scratch, right? You're like, well, what do you want to know? Well, I want to know this and this. Well, where's that data? And then you're starting with a blank sheet of paper.
Yep.
So I appreciate that you put the thought into kind of what is the distributor going to typically need to know, and what are our clients telling us, and taking that feedback. Thank you, Jeremy, for joining us today and being part of our ISV Talks with Dynamics Connections. Here's Jeremy's contact information. Also, Bob McAdam, he's the VP of Strategic Alliances, so he definitely would be another person you can reach out to and learn a little bit more. Go to cavallo.com, and also check out that YouTube product premiere. That is actually pretty awesome information. Of course, our ISV library, we also have a lot of great information about Cavallo's products out there, and we'll keep continually updating that as things evolve. So thank you again, Jeremy, for being a part, and I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it.